What's up, everybody? Welcome to Touchdown Texas, episode 18. I'm your host, Shivam Patel, and I'm my co host here, Nick Rodriguez. We're getting closer and closer to the Longhorns against the Sun Devils quarterfinals matchup in Atlanta, January 1st. I hope everybody, first of all, had a great Christmas and happy holidays. But, Nick, there's a lot of great football on right now, and we can't wait. Longhorns game is right around the corner.
Absolutely. Happy holidays to you and your family. But so excited. I'm very excited for this matchup against the Sun Devils, the former Big 12 champ, going against the SEC runner up. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be a great matchup between two great teams. So let's get into it, and we'll get into some other stuff as well. But I'm excited.
For sure. And before we get started with our content, be sure to follow us at touchdown_Texas on our social media channels. And be sure to like our YouTube videos and subscribe to our channel for more of our content. We're going to be doing this, after the game again, against the Arizona, after Texas plays against Arizona State. But right now we're recording on a Saturday, December 28th, before the Longhorns play on January 1st. Wednesday against the Sun Devils. But in this episode, we're going to be giving our more extended preview of the game, but also talking about the other three quarterfinal matchups. And we could even get into some bowl games again because Oklahoma did lose yesterday to Navy, and A&M lost to USC yesterday. So UT's rivals aren't doing so hot in bowl season while UT is in the playoffs. Okay, so let's get into the game. So again, the Longhorns are 13.5-point favorites against the Arizona State Sun Devils. ESPN FPI gives us an 80% chance to win the game. So Arizona State's running back Cam Scatterbo is one of the best players in the country. He's had over 1,500 rushing yards and over 500 receiving yards. He's the first player in the FBS to do that since Christian McCaffrey did in 2014. So, Nick, what are you looking for in this game?
I think it's going to be about the line of scrimmage. How much can we dominate the line of scrimmage when we have the ball, push, move the ball, and get touchdowns? And then also, how much can we make their quarterback, who we know is more of a runner, one read kind of guy, make him more of a passer? And then how much can we limit Cam Scatterbo? We know how much of a threat Cam Scatterbo is. He's amazing, not only in the backfield, of course, as a runner, but he's a catching threat as well. He can catch the ball and make a lot of people miss, even though he's a bigger, thicker guy. So I think eliminating him, making their quarterback more of a passer is going to be huge. And then also limiting turnovers. We controlled the game against Clemson, but yet we let them back into that game. So as much as we can limit that and just keep a hold onto the game and not let them in as much as possible, taking risk when they're necessary, I think we'll be okay. And we should be in cruise control in the late second half. But as long as we do those things, we got to do those things, I think we should be okay.
Yeah, for sure. And Bo Scatterbo, I believe he's been the second best running back in the country this year behind Boise State's Asher Genty, who was a Heisman runner-up. So I expect Texas to load 7 to 8 guys in the box by the line of scrimmage because Arizona State's missing their best wide receiver, Tyson. He's from the state of Texas originally, but he's their best receiving threat. So we're going to force Sam Levitt, the quarterback, to make the throws necessary and win those and force their wide receivers who are young and inexperienced to win those one-on-one matchups against our corners, Malik Muhammad and Jahdae Barron. And I'll take Texas's corners against their wide receivers any day of the week. So that's going to be the key. And also forcing Arizona State's offense into long yardage third down situations, 3rd and 8 and beyond. If you do that, those are obvious passing downs, and our guys are really good at getting home to the quarterback, with Alfred Collins, Vernon Broughton, Trey Moore, even Colin Simmons, who he's had like 8 sacks this year. He's had a monster freshman year. He's won the Freshman of the Year award. So congratulations to Colin Simmons. So their offensive line is not going to be able to block our guys for 4 quarters constantly, especially if they're put in disadvantaged situations. So our defensive line is going to win. Our linebackers are going to win on, Bo Scatterbo. And even when he runs the ball, we have to get them to the ground. We cannot let him have the extra yards after catch receiving or extra yards running after contact. because he's broken 92 tackles this year, and our defense has only allowed 4 yards a carry and above only like 1 or 2 times this year. So we have a great rushing defense, and they're definitely going to show up. But that's going to be the key of the game for me, and forcing Sam Levitt to throw the ball because he can be very turnover prone.
I mean, definitely. I mean, you definitely want to limit giving Cam Scadbo the ball as much as possible. Like you said, I mean, he's a younger quarterback, so he doesn't have as much experience. The more we can have second and longs, third and longs, make them have false starts, make them basically have self-inflicted wounds, the less that they can run the ball like they want to, overpower our defensive line, trick us with misdirection and everything like that. So the more we can push them back, the more that we're the aggressor of the team, I think we'll be okay. This is absolutely no disrespect to Arizona State at all. I think they're a very talented team. They obviously deserve to be the 4 seed and have to bye and everything like that. They've definitely earned that. But as a team that played Georgia and we lost, we played very well against them and their running game. I think this is a different – even though Cam Scadwell, like you said, and I agree, he is probably the second best running back in the country behind Austin Genty. But as far as offensive line and scheme, I would put that up with Georgia or Notre Dame, Texas. So I think this is going to be an interesting matchup. They're going to try to control the time of possession, the line of scrimmage. But if we can push them back, have long third downs, we should be able to dominate and win this game.
Yeah, for sure. And I believe PK, our Texas's defensive coordinator, he's going to blitz a lot of this game.
Yeah.
Because first of all, to stop Scatterbo, because our cornerbacks are not afraid to get dirty in the line of scrimmage and tackle runners, so they're willing to do that. They're not just cover guys, which it's props to them because a lot of teams corners don't like to help run support. So our corners are really good at that, and we're just going to blitz because the more pressure you can put on Sam Levitt, the more opportunity he has to make a turnover. Because yes, he's played this year, but they have not seen a defense like Texas. They played in the Big 12. They did play against Mississippi State early in the year, but of course, as we know, Mississippi State isn't very good, and it's not like they were able to dominate Mississippi State. They didn't, and Texas is on a whole nother level. So yeah, we're going to throw a lot of coverages to confuse him, like we may blitz and play zone on the outside, with our cornerbacks. And if we do that, we're going to make life tough, on Levitt, and we're going to make him look like the redshirt freshman that he is. But also, he is a running threat. They like to do a lot of quarterback keepers, a lot of quarterback zone keepers. So they'll act like they're faking to Scatterbo, and then our defense may converge, and then Sam Levitt beats you on the outside. So we have to stay disciplined with that. We cannot just focus on Scatterbo because their quarterback is also a very potent runner. But our scheme has been amazing all year. We faced dual threat quarterbacks all year, and he's not one of the best dual threat quarterbacks we're going to face. I believe Kate Klubnik was a lot better, so we'll be prepared.
I think so. This is no slight on the Big 12. Obviously, we were in the Big 12 for a long time. Only won it a few times. They won it in their first year, so it's a big hats off to them. I think a lot of the Texas coaches are saying everything correctly. A lot of the players are saying everything correctly. We're not overlooking Arizona State at all. But as a Texas fan, it would be very disappointing to go into this game and lose. You cannot lose this game. You have to win this game just because of the momentum that you've had. Guys, we were number 1 at one point. We've lost twice to the same team. If you want to prove the doubters wrong, you got to whoop butt in this game. And then we could talk about the semifinals. If we come up short, which you and I have kind of talked about a little bit off air, about if we were to fall in the semifinals, or obviously the national championship game, that's a little bit different. But, hey, we lose to Ohio State, we lose to Oregon, we lose to hopefully not Georgia a third time. We lose to Notre Dame. That's different, right? That's the semifinals. That's the final. This is a quarterfinal game. There's going to be more Texas fans than Arizona State fans. We play Texas football, even a B- game. We should win. We should dominate, and we should move on to the semifinals, playing either Oregon or Ohio State.
Yeah, for sure. And Arizona State, they've had an amazing year. Like we're not taking anything away from them. Sure. They were projected to finish like second to last in the Big 12. So they came from the Pac-12. Now they're in the Big 12 and winning it the first year. We know Sark even said in the media availability that we know how hard it is to win the Big 12. Maybe that was just coaches speak, but hey, we're giving them credit, and they're definitely a team that's it's going to be a tough game, but we have the talent, we have the skill position players, we have the coaching advantage, and we should be able to take that into a W. So now let's talk about the Texas offense against the Arizona State defense. So we know Quinn Ewers, third-year starting quarterback. He's had over 35 starts now in his career. He's going to be going against a good Arizona State defense. Arizona State's ranked 25th in rushing. Statistically, they're like in the middle of the pack in the country, in passing defense. So what are you looking for? How should Quinn Ewers attack this Arizona State defense?
I think it's going to be similar to the Clemson game. I think it's going to be man, they had a huge game. Trey Wisner, Jaden Blue. I think you lean on them. I think you see what you can get out of Isaiah Bond. I think obviously he didn't play against Clemson, but you see how much can he do in this game? Because if we do win this game, then we're going up against Oregon, Ohio State, and he's got to be ready for that. We need him for that one, right? So I think you do that, and then you try to see how far deep down the field can I go. Let's be aggressive. Let's push the ball down the field. And you saw when the Texas running game is aggressive, and the only two times I can really think that we were stifled is against Georgia twice. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm thinking. I think you lean on the running game. You see what you can get out of Isaiah Bond, whether that's very small, whether that's a lot. Don't push him too much, but I don't want him to not play until we play in the semifinals, especially if we end up winning, obviously. And then push the ball down the field. Use Gunnar Helm. Run. Scramble. Ewers should be as healthy as he is all year. He's never been the fastest guy, but he can get out of the pocket. He's been a lot better over the last few weeks or month of the season. And then take some deep shots. Hit Ryan Wingo, hit Matthew Golden, and make some aggressive plays, and which Sark always is very aggressive. But I think that's the key. Lean on that running game.
They're definitely going to lean on the running game to start zone reads. And the zone read is going to open up the play action. That's going to open up the intermediate routes, the crossing routes that Gunnar Helm and Matthew Golden absolutely love. So we're going to start with that. But Arizona State might start with defending the run. And we know Sark doesn't like to run on a heavy box, even though in this game he might want to because our running backs had such a good game last time. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start the game out passing more, then loosen up the Arizona State defense because then they're going to be spread out. And then that's what's going to open up the running lanes inside. So I wouldn't be surprised if that strategy happens, but I think Blue and Wisner, one of them is going to go for 100 yards again. Golden's probably going to go for over 100 yards passing, maybe even Helm as well. Ewers, he only threw one touchdown pass against Clemson. Again, he stayed in his lane. He did what we needed him to do. The running game was working. We kept feeding the running game. But he's going to throw 2 or 3 touchdown passes, in my opinion.
Ooh, I like it.
Yes, yes. One of them is going to be a 30-yard bomb. It's going to be like a deep post 30-yard bomb to Matthew Golden, and then the other one's going to be it's going to be in the red zone. In the red zone. Speaking of the red zone, we need to execute. We need to be efficient in the red zone, and we need to get touchdowns instead of field goals.
Yeah,
it may not matter in this game again because we're a better team than Arizona State, but we need to continue to build that momentum for Ohio State and Oregon, because in those games, you cannot afford to settle for field goals. So 100%. I'm looking for the red zone efficiency. I would like to see them run the ball a little bit more in the red zone than they have been, and look for that to happen. But Quinn Ewers is going to throw a couple touchdown passes. This is going to be one of his better games of the season because he's like 95, according to reports, he's like 90 to 95% healthy. They've had a week and a half. And he's going to be looking to increase his draft stock because there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on this game.
I completely agree. I mean, I like your pick. I'll throw one out there. I'll say his first touchdown pass goes to Ryan Wingo. How about that?
Ooh, I like that. True freshman.
True freshman getting a little action. So I'll say it's not not huge, but maybe 20 yards, something like that. 20, 25 yards. Breaks a tackle.
And let's go Ryan Wingo. Yeah. We need that because Ryan Wingo, he had some catches against Clemson, but he also had some drops.
And the interception, right?
And
that was more.
No, that was more. But Isaiah Bond, he's been practicing with the team this week. But again, ankles are very gimpy. You don't know how it's going to react on Wednesday. So we're going to need Ryan Wingo with the starting lineup. He's going to be the starting lineup again. So I like Nick's prediction. He's thinking ahead.
Let's see.
Confident. Okay, well, while we're sticking with predictions, what is your final score prediction of the Texas-Arizona State game?
I think it's going to go back and forth. I think it's going to be a good game. But again, similar to the Clemson game, and I have a higher regard for Clemson's program, and that game actually scared me a lot more, even though I was at home, than this one. So I'm going to say 34-17. I think we end up pulling away. It's a game that we're never really in doubt of. We're never really afraid, really, hopefully. We're just controlling the game. I mean, we talked about Cam Scatterbo, but we really didn't hit on it enough was we have a great running back duo as well. We have Wisner. We've got Blue. So we can control the time of possession as well. We got a better quarterback. So I think we end up doubling them up here. I think we win 34-17. Maybe they make a little push late. Maybe we extend the lead late. Maybe it's 24-17, something like that. We pull ahead. But I ultimately, I think it's a game that we kind of put in cruise control. Again, it's no disrespect. It's just I think we're on a collision course, and I think we're ready for this one.
I like your score prediction. Nick has Texas winning more comfortably than I do. I have Texas winning 28-20. Again, okay. I think we're going to be up by 2 touchdowns, but then Arizona State's going to score like a garbage touchdown in like in the fourth quarter to make the score look a little bit more respectable than it was. Right. We have, our running back room. Arizona State may have the better running back player, but our running back room collectively is a lot better than Arizona State's. It's a lot better than a lot of the teams in the country. It's right up there. So I think that's going to be the key. We also have the better quarterback, the more experienced quarterback. We have better wide receivers, and Sark has been dealing. I have been happy with Sark's play calls the last couple of games.
Yeah,
at the beginning of the season, I thought he was getting a little too cute, too many end arounds, too many flashy plays. But now Sark kind of knows this offensive identity is running the football. We become a running football team and playing defense because our defense is statistically number 1 in the country in a lot of areas. So, we are going to continue to move the ball. People act like just to go on a mini rant against Georgia, people act like we were just inept on offense. No, we were moving the ball between the 20s. We just couldn't score in the red zone. We just couldn't score.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, but go ahead.
So, this offense can move the ball against some of the better defenses in the country, and I think it's going to continue, and we're going to get a lot of momentum into this game. And this may be more of an offensive game than defensive game. You would love to see that as a Texas fan because our offense has been up and down this year.
Totally agree. And I think the only thing that was different with the Clemson game is we thought it would be more of a defensive game. We thought it would be in the 20s or lower, and it ended up being more high scoring. But I was just going to agree with your point with the Georgia game is, we were moving the ball quite a bit. We just couldn't convert in the red zone. We convert one of those times to the red zone, we're probably walking away talking about the Notre Dame game, how we face up against Notre Dame or however it would have shaken out, but probably would have won the SEC. But I think we're focused. I think we play well. I think we take care of business and we beat Arizona State.
Yep. So again, Nick's prediction is 34-17. Again, I hope his prediction is right. And mine is 28-20, a little bit of a closer game. But hey, we both have Texas winning. And as we said in the last episode, it doesn't matter if you win by half a point, 5 points, or 30 points.
You still
survive in advance is the name
exactly.
of the game.
Right.
All right. So we wanted to talk about some of the other quarterfinal games that are out there in this round. So let's start with the game that's the closest to Penn State and Boise State. And this is an intriguing game to me because Penn State has a great defense. Their offense has been up and down, as we saw against SMU. Most of their touchdowns happened on defense when they got the 2 pick sixes. But Boise State has a Heisman runner-up of Ashton Jeanty, who many believe he's the best running back in the country. So what are you looking for in this game before we get to our predictions?
I think it's going to be similar to our game, really, is how much can they stop Ashton Jeanty? How much can Penn State slow down Ashton Jeanty? And can Boise State convert those possessions where they get past the 50, where they're in their opposing territory? Can they convert them to touchdowns? We saw Penn State do this against Ohio State and couldn't convert, right?
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't convert touchdowns. They struggled getting field goals, and they have fallen short. I think the other thing that I want to look at is, what does this Boise State defense look like? The only time we really saw them was against Oregon early in the season. And that was a really, really close game. So what can Penn State do? We know that they're not really known for their offense. We know they're known for their defense. It's going to be a really heavyweight matchup. It's not at Penn State. It's not at Boise State. It's a neutral site. There's going to be more Penn State fans there, but it's going to be interesting how much they can slow Ashton Jeanty down, because no one has been able to do that all year.
Oh, for sure. And so Penn State's defense has really been awesome this year. Number 11, Abdul Carter. He's the next in line after Micah Parsons. He's going to be a top 10 pick. Yeah. Just watch that game. He's going to flash off your screen. He's going to make a lot of splash plays. And they, like I said, they were able to get 2 pick sixes on SMU's quarterback. They got 3 interceptions total, and they stopped them for like 2 fourth downs. So Penn State's defense is going to show up. The question for me is Penn State's offense has been very much up and down this year. They don't have a number 1 wide receiver like they've had in the past, but they have 2 really good running backs. Not on Texas's level, but again, 2 really good running backs, Nicholas Singleton and Keytron Allen. That's their offense. They like to feature those running backs through handoffs, through screens, short passing game. Drew Aller, the quarterback, who decided that he's going to return for his senior year next year, they don't let him push the ball downfield very much.
I know.
Which
why not? I mean, he can.
He can. Like he has an amazing arm, and he's a very talented quarterback. He's still a little bit raw, but most experts think he's going to be a better NFL quarterback than he is going to be a college quarterback. So look for that. But they kind of had the Texas playbook on offense. A lot of short passes, intermediate passes, and they just continue just to death by 1,000 cuts. Continue to drive down the field and wear the defense down, and then they were able to get points that way. So Penn State's offense is not going to need to show up, because they're not going to play against, because Penn State's defense is going to hold Boise State enough.
Yeah.
But if Penn State's offense displays an offensive fireworks game, this game could be a blowout. But I think this is going to be a close game. Ashton Jeanty, is going to struggle to, run the ball. Boise State's wide receivers, I've watched them a couple of times. They're average. They're all right. Yeah. They make tough catches, but their offense is primarily around Ashton Jeanty. And if you stop them like Penn State would, I think Penn State's going to control this game a majority of the game.
I agree with that, and that's why if we can get into predictions, I mean that's why. Yeah, I think Penn State ultimately wins this game. I think it is close. I think it is a nail biter. But similar to Texas's game against Arizona State, they need to win this one, right? I mean, if Georgia loses to Notre Dame, their quarterback is out. If Notre Dame loses to Georgia, okay. Ohio State loses to Oregon, those are all great teams, right? You cannot lose to Arizona State if you want to win a national championship. You cannot lose to Boise State. No disrespect. But if you're Penn State, you got to beat Boise State. And as he put my score up there, I think it is pretty close. Going into the fourth quarter, Penn State gets a turnover. They score late. They pull away. They win. They're probably not that excited how much they won by. It's probably closer than they thought it would be, but they win 24-15.
Okay, quick prediction from you. Does Jeanty go over 100 yards in this game?
No.
Ooh, I like that. I agree. He's going to go for, I said
75.
Oh, you had a little bit less than me. I was going to say 85 to 90. Because he's going to break like a long run. By long run, I probably mean like 15 yards only, because Penn State's defense flies to the ball.
Yeah.
Jeanty has not played a defense like Penn State's because Oregon is not known for the defense. We know Oregon is an offensive team. So this could be an adjustment for Jeanty, and it's going to be similar to Arizona State. Boise State's quarterback is a young quarterback, and they're going to force him to make throws and beat them. And Penn State's secondary has been amazing. Tony Rojas, their whole secondary is awesome. They're ball hawks, and they're going to get a couple turnovers off of Boise State. And I have Penn State winning 28-17. All right, so now let's move on. Let's talk about the Rose Bowl game. So the Rose Bowl is going to be featuring Ohio State and Oregon. A lot of people thought these were the best two teams in the country, throughout the year. They had a very close game. I believe Oregon only won by 1 point, and that game was in Eugene. So this game is going to be in the Rose Bowl in California. What are you looking for in this matchup?
I'm looking to see if Ohio State can do what they did against Tennessee. And I don't mean put up 40 and give up only 17, but I just mean, can they get off to a fast start again? If they get off to a fast start, they got a real chance in this game. And I think that's going to be huge. We've seen Oregon. Oregon's undefeated. They haven't lost yet. So, it can almost be a disadvantage in some ways. Every other team in the country has lost and has had to come back from that. Of course, Ohio State, they lost to Michigan. But I think it's going to be who can start out faster. Who's going to get out to a 14-0 lead? Who's going to score first? Who's going to bounce back from that? Both of these teams are extremely talented. Both of them are well coached. Both of them know each other. They just played each other a few months ago in Oregon. Oregon got the W. Came down to the very end. Mm-hmm. But that's going to be it's just like basic, knowledge. Who's going to make the least amount of mistakes? Who gets out to the fastest starts? Who doesn't have self-inflicting wounds? The team who does most of those, the best of that, is going to win this ball game. They're both of these teams can win the national championship. That's why it's going to be awesome to watch this game. Don't really have a dog in this fight as much, just because hopefully Texas gets a chance to tee off against them as well. But we'll see. But that's what I'm thinking.
I agree with your points, and this is going to be a game with offensive fireworks. Oregon is one of the fastest teams in the country. Their wide receivers are basically like a track team. The running back Jordan James is very underrated in my opinion. If you watch Oregon, he's a guy who can get tough yards. He can even outrun people. He's a very underrated quarterback. Dylan Gabriel, as Texas fans found out the hard way last year, he can both throw. He can both throw and run. He's a great college quarterback, very fun to watch. So which offense is going to be able to click? Because we know Ohio State's, they don't have the quarterback play in my opinion, but they have two good running backs, Judkins and Travion Henderson. Their wide receiver core is ridiculous. Jeremiah Smith, who many believe is the best freshman in the country.
Yeah.
Egbuba. So Carnell Tate. So and their tight end is really good also. So whose offense is going to be able to outscore the others? Because I don't think very much defense is going to be played in this game. I may be wrong about that, but I just have a feeling. Yeah. And whoever can get the crucial turnover, or whoever doesn't get like the fourth down conversion, is going to win this game. This is going to be a very high scoring game. In my opinion, I can just go with my score prediction first, and then I'll let Nick go first. 35-28, Ohio State.
Oh.
Ohio State doesn't have the better quarterback, but I just think that since Michigan, they've been focused. They know this is kind of like a last dance for Ohio State, because if Ryan Day doesn't make it to the finals, he's going to be canned. He's going to be done. And they have one of the most talented rosters in the country, because of the transfer portal, and they recruit very well. But Ohio State's going to win 35-28.
I also got the Buckeyes. I got them winning 35-33 over Oregon. I think this is just going to be
nice
revenge game. The last time they only lost by 1 point, and that was in Oregon. That was in Eugene. So I think they get their revenge. I do like Ryan Day. I think he is a good coach. I think, with him, when you go to a university like Ohio State, you got to win national championships and you got to beat Michigan. He hasn't done either one of those yet, but he's got a great opportunity against Oregon to do that. I know he's lost, and Texas fans would feel the same way if we kept losing to Oklahoma. But I think he gets it done here. I think he beats the Ducks. The Ducks have been a little too cute, and some games have been a little too close. Like the Wisconsin game was a little close. There's the Penn State game was really close. And I just think, when you're undefeated for that long, it's a lot of pressure. And Ohio State's already had the pressure of losing to Michigan. And everyone's like, well, they're going to lose to Tennessee and and they're going to lose their coach. I think they've rallied around each other. Ryan Day is a good coach, and I think they end up beating him in a close one, a tight one, final field goal maybe is blocked from Oregon. Oregon, misses it, and they escape and they move on to the semifinals. So I think it's going to be. I'll say this: I think it's going to be the best game of that stretch. It's not really the weekend; it's like Tuesday and Wednesdays and stuff. But I think Ohio State Oregon will be the best one.
Yeah, get your popcorn ready.
Get your popcorn ready.
Thought these two teams were the best teams in the country. Oregon is super talented. They play a fun style. They have the sick uniforms. Ohio State also is very talented as well, but they've not lived up to the expectations. So there's a lot of storylines. There's going to be a lot of storylines in this game because Dan Lanning in Oregon hasn't really won anything since he's been there. So he's motivated. And like we talked about, Ohio State's motivated because they know they've got to win the championship this year, and they have one of the most talented teams in the country. So which team is going to prevail? If you like offense, ladies and gentlemen, this is your game to watch.
Definitely. And if you don't like offense, we're about to talk about that game as well.
Yes. So let's talk about the last game on the weekend or during the week. It's going to be on January 1st. It's going to be Wednesday nights. Notre Dame against Georgia. I know Nick was very excited to talk about this game. What is going to be the keys for either team, and who's going to get the victory in this game?
Well, this is definitely not like offensive powerhouse. This is going to be running the ball. This is going to be mean. This is going to be physical. This is going to be defense. This is still going to be equally awesome. I mean, this is going to be a bloodbath, and I think it's going to be great. I think the key, there's no Carson Beck. What are we going to see out of their backup? I think that's going to be key. What are we going to see out of Notre Dame? Over the last 10 years, we'll just call it 10 years, they faltered in some of these moments. Obviously that's not the same players or coaches and stuff, but sometimes there's like, they're going to falter in this moment. Not this time. I think because Carson Beck is out with injury, Notre Dame is a great physical team. We know how many offensive linemen they have in the NFL. They have a good running game. They have an experienced quarterback. He's more experienced than the Georgia quarterback. I think it's different now because when he came into the Texas game, it was like, go, just go. You have to. I mean, there was no time to think or worry or plan. It was just go. And he took care of us and he beat us. Now, hold on, I got to move because my computer's about to die. But I will also say that this is different. Playing the semifinals, I think he's going to have to play even better, and Notre Dame can plan around him. I give them the slight victory, and I have them winning. Yes, I'm going with Notre Dame in an upset here, winning 21-20. Very tight.
I like it.
Yes. This has nothing to do. Sorry, I have to move, but my computer was going to die. But this is not anything against Georgia. I think Notre Dame is playing really good football. They played very well against a very good Indiana team. Georgia, what are they going to do, or what have they been doing these last 2 weeks to get their quarterback ready? How healthy is Georgia? Is this Notre Dame's time to finally jump somebody and beat them in a big moment? I say it is. I think they win. I think Georgia stalls very late, or they turn the ball over very late, and Notre Dame gets the victory 21-20.
So this is good. This is the first upset pick that we're picking in this game.
Yeah, got to.
I like it. Yeah, go with the upset because so far in the first round, all pretty much the favorites won.
Yeah.
so
exactly.
We could change, and we know the playoffs, anything can happen. But I like that pick. I'm not going to go that far and pick Notre Dame, even though it's going to be a very close. Game. I have Georgia winning 21-10.
Wow.
I think just Notre Dame has not seen a defense like Georgia. Riley Leonard is a great quarterback, but he's more of a running quarterback than a throwing quarterback. Even though he has improved so far, in the second half of the season, and he did look good against Indiana. I think Georgia's defense just has a tendency just to overwhelm quarterbacks, no matter how experienced they are. Even though they didn't do that to Jackson Dart, but they did overwhelm Milroe in the second half of the Alabama game. And I think this could be the same. Riley Leonard hasn't played in a big game like this because he was at Duke, his previous school. I think this is going to be a defensive game. Georgia is going to force turnovers of Notre Dame. They're going to shut down Notre Dame's running back, who's really good, Jeremiah Love. Leonard's he's going to have like one fumble. Leonard's going to throw like 2 picks. and that's going to allow for Georgia's offense to have short fields. And Georgia's running attack it will be good enough against Notre Dame's defense to be able to punch them into the end zone for 7 points. And I think Georgia's it's going to be a defensive battle, but they're going to pull away in the second half, and they're going to win 21-10.
Well, this is definitely it's going to be a good game either way. I think it's going to be back and forth. It's going to be close. I mean, all of these games are going to be awesome. All of them should be close. I mean, Arizona State, Texas. You got Georgia, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oregon. I mean, they're all games in the next few days are going to be awesome, and just looking forward to watching a lot more football over the next few
Yeah,
months.
for sure. It's the best time of the year. It's very interesting matchups. Yeah, the Georgia Notre Dame, besides Ohio State Oregon one, is the most intriguing matchup because Carson Beck, he's out for the year. He just declared for the draft today, which that's the right move. That's the right move, but Howell's Gunner Stockton going to be prepared. I heard he's been having some up and down practices. Again, he's a young quarterback. He hasn't played a lot. So they're going to rely on their running game, Georgia. They're going to have a lot of short passes, intermediate passes. But the wide receivers actually need to catch the ball. They cannot suffer the drops like they did, all year with Carson Beck. But Georgia's going to win with their defense like they've won all year. But look for all these games to be close, much closer than they were, in the first round.
Definitely.
Well, again, thank you so much for watching this episode of Touchdown Texas. Be sure to follow us on our social media channels and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Me and Nick are going to be back Thursday, January 2nd, reacting hopefully to a Texas victory against Arizona State. But again, everybody, happy holidays and happy New Year. And until then, we'll see you next time. Hook up.